Hello, everyone back in Aggie land. Welcome back. We are here with Coach Dwayne Ross for the second time. He is over in Tokyo, Japan for the Olympics. North Carolina A&T, of course, has two athletes over there. Trevor Stewart, we are very proud of. He became the first Aggie to win an Olympic medal, winning the bronze in the mixed 4x4 relays. And then, of course, Randolph Ross, who ran in the open 400 and just missed qualifying, finishing fourth in his qualifying race. But the good news is their time over there is not over. Their competition is not over. Both Trevor and Randolph Ross Jr. will compete in the 4x4 relay Friday morning. We have with us here Coach Ross, and I guess the first question I have for you is talk about Trevor and just how you felt when you saw him win a medal.
Oh, like any coach would feel after seeing their athlete train so hard for 4 years, 4.5 years, and talk about this being a dream and getting here and being able to do it. Now, granted, I know he wanted to do it to do it in his open events, and he still has an opportunity to do it in the 4x4 and whatnot. But just extremely proud of him. I mean, this is an elite class. I mean, we talked about that before. With these guys, to say you're an Olympian, that's an elite class. And there's not a lot of people that can say that. But then to go further and say that you're an Olympic medalist is just huge. So just extremely proud of him. Happy for him, his family. For the Aggies, his teammates, and people who've supported him all this time. Happy for him. I mean, I personally, I thought that. With some moving around, with some other legs, that relay probably could have won and whatnot. But hey, a little bit baby steps. The next Olympic Games, maybe the gold. So, but happy for him.
Outstanding. What was your first impression of him when you first saw him? And talk about his progression over, I think he's been with your program for 5 years. Talk about his progression from the first time you saw him until where he is now.
Well, he hasn't changed much. He's still a quiet guy, very to himself, serious guy. He works hard, very serious dude. He from day one, when I was recruiting Trevor, he made up his mind this is where he was going to come, and he didn't deviate from that. He came in his first year, he set out his first year, focused on his schoolwork and whatnot, and then the second year we got going. But my first impression, I saw him at a race. I'll never forget it. I was at in Newport News, Virginia, and he was running. I think it was either his regional meet or his state meet, and I saw him running, and he didn't win the race. Back then he was still running against the Lyles as well, Noah Lyles and his brother. So he didn't win the race. He wasn't the best 400-meter runner in that state, matter of fact. But it was just his determination. I saw a lot of potential in him. I saw when he crossed the line, he wasn't happy with his time. Then he came back and ran the 200 after the 4. And I just saw how determined he was and the effort that he gave. So from that moment on, I was like, hey, this would be someone good to build this 400-meter group around. And that's what we did. We brought him in and we built that 400-meter group around him. Make no mistake about it. A lot of people talk about, Junior, Randolph Ross and, this 4x4 that's won nationals a couple times now. But the first, I shouldn't say the first. We had DeJuan Harding, before Trevor, at the same time as Trevor too. But make no mistake about it, Trevor was one of the founding, one of the first bricks of that foundation for that 400 and that 4x4.
Talk about the recruiting process for Trevor, and then the recruiting process for Randolph Ross Jr. Because you have two of the best 400 runners in the world. I mean, I don't think that's an exaggeration. But talk about the process in recruiting them both. Were there any differences, considering one was your son? Was there any difference in the recruiting process in bringing two of the best in the world to North Carolina A&T?
Yeah, well, totally different. Trevor, I actually recruited. My son, I actually did not recruit. He grew up around A&T and grew to love it. And matter of fact, he would come to practice and see Trevor out there training. And I would put him out there, on occasion to run with Trevor. And Trevor would give him the business. I mean, remember he was still in high school. But yeah, recruiting Trevor was, very, very family oriented guy. You know, his mom, his grandparents, heavily involved in his life. So I just got to know them during the recruiting process, got to know Trevor, and as a coach, it really does my heart good, and hopefully, Trevor and his family, realize this as well. The things I said to him during his recruiting process, we've seen a lot of those things come to pass. I remember sitting and talking to him and asking him these questions: what do you want to do? With your life? What do you want to do, in track and field? What do you want to do with your major? And he said at that age that he wanted to do this and go as far as he could. And I told him, hey, well, this is the right place, right? You put your trust in me, do what I tell you to do, and let's see what happens. So to see him become a young man, which he has done, 5 years, I mean, he's really grown. He's an adult. He makes good decisions. He's graduated, did good in the classroom. And then to see him work hard on the track and come away with an Olympic medal when recruiting him out of high school, he wasn't the best 400-meter runner in his state, and a lot of schools overlooked him. Right? That says a lot. That says a lot. I hope he feels, um, not vindicated, but just how we feel as coaches and staff, proud of what he's done, coming from that far when everyone was talking about the Lyles and everyone else, and he was overlooked, by quite a few schools. To see him now walking away from A&T, a two-time national champion, he finished second in 2019, um, and then to come away with an Olympic medal and hopefully a gold medal here in a couple of days. And hopefully he can take that and one day, tell that story to his children if he becomes a coach to his athletes, and we just keep the trend going.
He seems to also be a bit of an intellectual. He really does a great
Hmm.
job of explaining his races, and is that what you see from him a lot?
Yeah, he's just very smart guy, very very smart guy. I mean, he'll sit down and break something down, and which is impressive. But I tell our athletes all the time, hey, it's one thing for me to tell you what to do, but when you understand why you're doing it, that's when you'll reach another level. Because the athletes will, just like in the classroom, I tell them the same thing in the classroom. Don't try to memorize material, really learn it. So when we come out to the track, it's the same thing, and I'm always asking them questions. Well, why did you do that? What should you have done? Right? And he is always quick on the gun to know where he might have made a mistake, right? Where he can improve, what he needs to do to go to another level. I mean, very, very smart guy. He's gonna go far. Even if he decided to leave track and field right now, right, he'd be successful in whatever field he decides to go into.
So it sounds like you had to uh, convince Trevor about A&T, but it sounds like your son kind of grew up, around A&T, and so that was kind of the
Mhm.
vast difference in getting both of them into the same program.
Yeah, he grew up around it, and of course, I'm his father, so he, wanted to keep that, that relationship with us as father and coach, going. And but once again, Trevor had a lot to do with Junior coming in here, because he would come to practice, and Trevor was the top dog, and we were talking about how Trevor was going to do this and how Trevor was going to do that, and my son watched him progress, watched him just lose at NCAA's by lean in 2019, but still he ran 44 seconds more than anybody else in the country that year, probably the world, I believe. So Junior saw that, right, and he wanted to have that same success. But he also loved the campus, and he loved the environment. He grew up on that track. He ran the state championships on that track, New Balance Nationals on that track. He was familiar with it, and then of course he's familiar with his father. So it was kind of a no-brainer for him. To be honest, I thought I was going to lose him because he was getting recruited, and I was taking a back seat. I didn't take any visits with him. I didn't want to make it uncomfortable. And I really didn't talk to any coaches about him. Anyone that called me about him, I said, "Hey, he's a great kid. Recruit him as if I'm not as if I'm not in the picture." So they did that. He took his visits, and he liked a couple of schools, and I said, I made some recommendations for him. Hey, if you're not going to be here, maybe here and there. But at the end, he made that decision himself. And hopefully he's still feeling like he made the right decision.
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks that way. Uh, have you kind of wrapped your mind around the fact that two of the 4x4 runners for the United States Olympics team comes from North Carolina A&T, your program? I mean, that's bringing about a lot of excitement back here in Greensboro, but maybe it's too early to ask the question, but I mean, have you wrapped your mind around the fact that half of the team are Aggies?
Yeah, I have, and the reason I have is because I'm telling you, these are things that we've spoken into existence. I am big on that. We've talked about this all year long. Even with Daniel and Sirleaf, we talked about the plan. And I believe in preparation, and I believe in speaking it into existence, putting it out there in the universe. So we've been talking about that. We prepared for it. I mean, it's still, when you sit back and really think about it, you're right. When you sit back and you really think, small Greensboro, the rest of the country wants to overlook our program all year long. But then here we are, with two of the best, 400-meter runners in the world, here on the relay. Yeah, it is a big deal. I'm proud of it, and I hope everyone else is. Um, it's exciting, but it's like I said, it's something we've been preparing for all year. You want to run into some speed bumps here and there. I expected after the trials, to be honest, going into the trials, even with NCAA's being a week prior, I still felt that Junior and Trevor would make the team for the individual 400. I felt they could do that, and I still feel they could do that. I mean, if we go back and those guys, it's a different set of circumstances. Those guys are rested, just a few more days of rest coming off NCAA's. I believe, they're in the top three, both of those guys. Um, but hey, that didn't happen, and here we are at the top four. And but I do believe that you're right. These are two of the best 400-meter runners in the country, and the speed bump with Junior not making the next round of the 400. He's going to learn from that. He's going to get better. Trevor's more mature. And one thing um, I like with their relationship is that Trevor has really brought Junior along this year. Well, now that was good for him. Trevor, he's been here, he's been in the system, and he's ready to move on and do big things. And but he could have shunned Junior, his competition coming in, but he didn't. He was a big guy about it. He took him under his wing, and they really worked well together. I think that had a lot to do with Junior's success too.
The U.S. men's track and field, they're still looking for their first gold, which is a bit of a surprise for people. Italy won the 100. What is the state of play from a veteran like yourself, USATF? What is the state of play for USA track and field on the men's side?
Yeah, it's I can tell you this, it's no one is pleased. I mean, this the tradition of um, track and field here in the U.S., man, is rich. I mean, this might be um, the Olympic Games where we've had the fewest medals, definitely gold medals in our history. So there's, we go to practice. I mean, this we understand, the coaches, the other coaches, some of the staff of USTF, USATF, they understand that, hey, this wasn't our best showing, but nobody's complained. Nobody's put it on COVID. No one is complaining about the travel circumstances. I mean, everybody has dealt with some of the same things. Um, so I mean, it is what it is. They have to get this. A lot is riding on this relay, right? Because we got to come out of that. And this is one event that the U.S. takes a lot of pride in, just like we take a lot of pride in it at A&T. They take a lot of pride in this. As I told the guys at practice the other day, don't take anything for granted, right? We're here at the games. Everyone wants that gold. And right now, some of these other countries are looking at us as being vulnerable. We're not having a good meet. So they're going to piggyback on that, and they're going to try to take a stab at it. So this is where you end the games on a huge note by going out here and just leaving no doubt whatsoever what 4x4 relay is the best in the world. So I think they'll do that. I think they understood that message, and I know our officials at USA Track and Field have definitely said something to the guys as well about this, and I'm pretty confident they'll come away with a gold.
Outstanding. What kind of impact do you think A&T's representation? I think Livingstone also has a young lady in the 400-meter final as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
Quinera.
what type of impact is this having on the HBCU community, the Black community, the A&T community at large, to see these athletes from some of these smaller schools achieve these high goals?
Man, listen, I love it. I love it. I hear from coaches all the time. Even when we had some hiccups, when Junior didn't do what he was expected to do, a lot of coaches reached out. Hey, this guy's the future. Keep him up, and they're right. Everything's not going to go according to plan, but I mean, it's exciting, man. I am so proud to be a part of that. When I hear some of our other, brother and sister institutions say, hey, man, you guys have kicked in the door, we're trying to do the same thing, and I'm telling them you can, you can't take no for an answer. You got to, put a plan in play. You got to get others around you to understand what the plan is and to buy into the plan. And then you got to go to work. You got to be a better coach. You got to be a better recruiter. These are things I'm telling, some of my fellow coaches, because everyone asks all the time, how are you doing it? But, and I tell them, dude, there's no secret workout, because that's what everyone wants. They want the recipe. They want to know what Junior and Trevor and Javante and the Hurdles, what they're doing at practice. And I tell them, dude, it starts with the basics, right? Be a better manager, be a better coach, improve on the workouts, get in the homes and recruit these kids and explain to them what your vision is, right? And sometimes that means looking at ourselves and figuring out what we really want out of this. So, dude, I am extremely excited to be a part of it. For other coaches to say that, hey, you guys are the catalyst for what is to come. Like you mentioned, Quinera, man, and I mean, just so many other programs, and what they're doing in football and basketball. Yeah, I hope that we are the catalyst that's spearheading all of this and driving everything forward. It's big. It's big, and what I want to see from this, what I would love to see from this, is going forward, not just in track and field, but every sport. I mean, we see what's happening in the world, right? You see what's going on with the SEC. I mean, I
The
mean,
change.
yeah. You don't have to be a scientist to know what's going to happen next, right? These other conferences are going to merge. These other teams are going to merge with these. I mean, this is going to become a situation where these schools here are going to want to say, "Hey, it's us, and then it's you guys," right? And in sports, we can't allow that. We can't allow that. And that was one of the things that drove me early on when I got here, right? How dare you, how dare you try to label us or put us in a category, right? When we train just as hard, right? We study just as hard. So it's coming. It's coming. So right now, these our mid majors, our HBCUs, this is our moment to where we got to step the game up. We do, or we will be left behind. So hopefully, what I would love to see is that every HBCU really, just puts the effort forward, puts the resources into their programs, and every sport and in every athletic department just says, hey, you know what, it can be done, right? We're going to do it. Simple as that, right? If we're going to fail, it's going to be because of us, not because somebody else closed the door on us, right? So that's what I would love to see from the rest of our, HBCU schools.
And talk about athletics and just the role that it plays. Certainly, I think it's played a big role to see football and women's basketball and bowling and all those track and field do very,
Yeah,
very well in terms
yeah.
of just enrollment.
Mhm.
I've heard it said many times that it's the university's front porch. It's what everybody sees.
That's right.
First thing everybody sees. And so,
Mhm.
talk about just that importance of being successful in athletics.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people can say what they want. Yes, our kids are here to get an education, and they will. And obviously that's important. But yeah, athletics, you can't leave that out. I mean, and you want a competitive athletic program. You want that. Right. So I don't make any qualms about it. When I'm recruiting, I'm talking to parents, I tell them straight, yes, I'm here to win. Right. I'm going to make sure your kid gets an education. I'm going to make sure, that they're coming through this program with integrity and the same ethics that you instilled in them. But make no mistake about it, they're on this team, right? I'm pushing them to win. So yes, that is extremely important for all our institutions. And one thing I love about our institution is our coaching staff is tight. I mean, it's, baseball, bowling, Coach Kearney, Coach volleyball. I mean, we keep in touch, man. We support each other, right? This is not this is not a one man show. It's not the track and field show. It's not the basketball show. It's not the football show. We pull for each other. I've been over there to the baseball stadium, to watch a couple baseball games. Hey, whatever I can do for Coach Hall over there, and Coach Kearney and bowling. So I think that's important. I think we have a great system here where we support each other because we all want the same thing, and we all want to work hard to get it. So yeah, athletics is we got to put the resources into it, into all the sports. I just believe that we have to. This when I've been watching the news this last week, man, I'm telling you, when that news came out about the SEC, and I said it, I called it. I was like, man, I guarantee you the ACC is going to do something similar. And then bam, the news came out about Clemson and I can't remember what other school, Syracuse, talking the same thing. I was like, I knew it. So that's okay. That's okay. We're competing against some big money programs, right? We are. But hey, with nothing else, I would like to know, I would love to think that we as a track and field program, we've shown that, hey, it's not the size of your wallet, right? It's not just the size of your wallet that matters, right? I mean, we can still go in and knock some heads around head to head, right? It doesn't matter how big that purse is. So we just need the same mindset in every sport. And I think we're slowly but surely getting there.
Yeah, it's certainly changing. I mean, you're looking at the prospect of, having these 30 team, 32 team league conferences, just like the NFL or the NBA.
Yeah,
That's kind of where the direction that is headed in. And then you've got the name, image, and likeness, which nobody really still understands
yeah,
yet. So,
yeah,
the landscape of what we do is certainly changing by the day, and it's not going back. It's going to progress
oh yeah.
forward.
It is full steam ahead, and yeah, I would love to get ahead of it. Like you mentioned, the NIL. I mean, everything is just rocking and rolling, and um, all our HBCUs, our mid majors. I mean, we need to stay the course. We need to improve in every aspect of what we're doing because I see the writing on the wall. I see the writing on the wall. It's going to be here. It's going to be this group, and it's going to be this group and the money and the resources are going to separate it. And the only thing that's going to keep, that level playing field, in my opinion, is just the pure competition. If you're beating someone head to head, it's tough to say, hey, you don't belong, right? So we got to keep stepping it up like we're doing.
Well, I'll let you go on this one. Just for your information, they're going to gather together tomorrow morning, the cabinet, the football team, the band. They're going to have a little breakfast, and they're going to watch the 4x4. It's going to be kind of like a watch party over at the cafeteria. And so handicap the race for us as we go into it, and as everybody will be watching and cheering on our two guys. And certainly the entire USA team kind of handicap the race for us a little bit. What's our toughest competition?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this relay, the competition is them. But to be honest, now I will say Jamaica has been running. They've been having a good meet and whatnot. But there's competitions like this. I mean, you just never know. Like who knew the 100 meters was going to turn out the way it does? But this is the beauty of track and field, man. Who's the man that day? Who's the man that week, that month, that year? You just never know. You got to get out there and do it. It's going to be an interesting race. The order of the relay is going to say a lot. Um, right now, what I believe they're doing, initially I thought it was going to be Trevor first to Junior second, but now I believe it's going to be Junior will be second and Trevor will be third. When that, so which is not a bad strategy in itself either. You put two strong legs in the middle and whatnot, and finish up strong. I mean, that's a solid relay, solid lead off with Vernon. It's going to be a good relay and whatnot. So, but yeah, our guys are going to be second and third was the last information I got. I think it'll be exciting. They're ready to run, and then two, they're running together. So that camaraderie is going to be it's going to help with that adrenaline. That's one thing Junior didn't have preparing for his race, right? He's so used to being around his teammates, and then it was kind of like he was on that island by himself. He was warming up by himself, and it didn't matter what I said. I'm not his peers. I'm not his teammate. So he kind of felt like he was out there on that island by himself. But these guys tomorrow warming up. Trevor's going to be there with him, and I think guys are in for a show.
Outstanding. Now, who's running the anchor, Cherry or Norman?
No. So, hey, so right now, Bryce Dedman, the quarter miler from Texas A&M, he'll be running anchor. Vernon will be running first leg, and then of course Junior and Trevor second and third. So Cherry and Norman, they'll be resting because they ran this evening, so they'll definitely run the final. But yeah, they're going in that order, and to see what happens. That's a strong relay. That's a strong relay. But our guys are, they're up to the challenge, man. National champs coming in, they earn the right, to be on the relay by finishing top 4 at the trials. I mean, they've had a long season. I just told them, hey, finish it up the right way. We always talk about that. Hey, finish strong, man. Finish the job. So this is it. They got to finish it.
We'll tell them that Aggie Land is behind them 100%, and they'll be on campus tomorrow morning early, cheering them on. And all we can say is Aggie pride, and let's go Aggies.
All right, man. I'll let them know. Tell everyone thanks. We appreciate it.
All righty. That is North Carolina A&T Director of Track and Field Programs, Dwayne Ross. So we thank him for joining us again. And we hope to speak to him one more time before he leaves Tokyo. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, not a problem.